Welcome to Monday Live with Bailey and French. Here we are again. God, it feels...
Morning.
Yeah, morning, Ben. You're back. Good to have you back.
I am back. It's good. It's Monday morning. The sun was shining. It's now kind
It
of
is
gone
here.
in, but it feels like a new dawn. We had our kickoff last week at Bailey and French Towers.
It did.
And it's great to do this morning, especially what we're going to talk about, the kind of strengths-based approach, because that's exactly what we're going. So we're going through here, so we can talk about our own internal strategy and how we're going about it, which is good.
Which is always a really interesting thing to talk about, right? Because we're constantly at Bailey and French going, okay, how do we uphold our own values and the things that we talk about on Monday Lives? And it's another great reason I love doing the Monday Lives, because I have to look back and go, oh, but you said this live. you have to kind of uphold this stuff around human leadership and around, strengths-based leadership. So that's what we're going to kind of touch on today. Some of the things that we've been going through, the things that the team's kind of going through right now. And we've got PDPs, we've got objective settings, we've just launched kind of the strategy and getting everyone excited and rallied around kind of a new vision, new approach, etc. Which is really exciting. And so thanks, Ben, for joining. I know Monday mornings are a tough one, aren't they?
Well, it is. You just got to get your mindset right, haven't you? And you made a great comment this morning. It's like going down the gym. It's the procrastination before, and you think, ugh, I don't feel like it. But you come out and you're kind of energized, and So it's great. It's great doing this, and it's great kind of hopefully speaking to people in LinkedIn world. And we always try to create a little bit of a discussion here, but something for you guys to take away with for your week and start asking yourself the questions in the back of your mind. So that's definitely what we want to do at 9 o'clock when we shut out or we close out for the week.
Yeah. Well, exactly that, isn't it? So the whole reason that we did Monday Live, and the reason that we changed it actually from a Friday to a Monday, is so that people can look forward to their week. Right, what's the one thing that I need to change? And okay, we're going to have a conversation here, and we're going to probably touch on a few things, but what's the one thing that I need to focus on this week? What can I bring into my week, into my business? Whether you're a senior HR professional, L&D professional, whether you're kind of a senior manager, owner of a department, or owner of the business, whoever you are, there's some things that there's some practical ways of working that you can maybe take forward to have a positive impact on your culture and your business. So I hope there's something in here today. We will touch on PDPs, but I have a feeling like this conversation could go all sorts.
Well, it's me and you. So it will go like that.
Well, PDPs, right? So PDPs, strengths, kind of how do you build personal development plans and objective setting, and how do you bring all of that together with your team, with your business, and how do you layer the lens of being human and kind of a more strengths-based approach without it creating this kind of toxic positivity? And if it doesn't play to my strengths, I'm not going to do it. How do we breed this kind of really kind of accountable culture? Where should we start?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, it's good to start on this. And, as we said, we had our kickoff last week. Strategy was revealed to everyone. So the first point is absolutely getting clarity around the strategy. But the second point is, how do we achieve our objectives and goals on an individual basis and a team basis, as you said, and really the awareness of people's strengths, and what are strengths? Strengths are stuff that we do that we really, really enjoy. It energizes us. It motivates us. It's the kind of stuff that you look up at the clock and 4 hours are gone. You're completely immersed in it. So what are those things? But can we leverage on them to achieve our goals? And then as a team, if we've got the self-awareness and we've got the awareness of others, how can we leverage them as a team to really go forth and conquer? And definitely something that we do in Bailey and French, and that's how it feeds into the personal development plans. Because we want personal development plans that are going to obviously help us achieve our company goals, but allow people to be motivated and have fun doing it the way that they want to do it.
Exactly that.
And I think it's as easy as that. We can talk about strengths from the kind of scientific point of view and the evidence behind it. But I think the real simple way of putting it is it's the stuff that you just enjoy doing. Yeah. I think that's what you said at the beginning.
Exactly. And the reality is you're not going to enjoy every aspect of your work. You don't enjoy every aspect of your life, your personal life. And that's, a lot of that's controllable by you. There's a lot of things in life that are good. Holidays, typically very fun and really great. I'm sure there are moments throughout that holiday that aren't so great. So it's unrealistic to think, and I don't know whether this is a generational thing, but we are seeing a lot of people moving into the workplace and going, hey, this is not what I imagined the workplace to be. And that kind of entitlement culture is something that we get asked a lot about from clients. But if we're able to just play to our strengths a little bit more, if we're able to have a conversation with our line manager just a little bit more frequently about, hey, you seem to really love that thing. What was it about that thing that you did or that project that really kind of lit you up and you had an amazing impact on the team and on this business? That was amazing. Tell me more about it. How are we just encouraging people to have that greater awareness of themselves and of others around their strengths?
Yeah. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can actually see in meetings, both virtually and face to face, where people's faces light up, where they end up talking faster, when they're so passionate about something. You can literally, just make a mark and just said, and feed it back to them. You could always tell when someone's enthusiastic and passionate about a topic, and it's our jobs as well. If we're going to go for a strength-based organization, to spot those things in other people and feed it back, because it might be I never really, I do like that actually. So identifying in them or helping them self-identify, I think is really important. But going back to your first point, yes, I mean, I think the people who don't buy into strengths have also said, we can all play strengths, but people hide behind their strengths. Oh, I can't get involved in that part because it doesn't play to my strengths. But it doesn't mean that. We're always going to have to increase our knowledge and skills. And guess what? The more we do that, the more we can find other strengths or other things that we didn't actually know that we enjoy doing, that we didn't know that we add value to the organization. So yeah.
100%. And people forget actually the strengths approach, the strengths philosophy isn't just focus on strengths. It's exactly as you just pointed out. Actually, it's let's get to a mindset and a place of positivity so that you can think about other things and think about solutions, think about your knowledge and skills and apply them in the right context to kind of have this broader vision. It's kind of creating that clarity and also helping people to have the confidence to go, no, do you know what? I do have this and I've got these strengths. And it kind of gives you a real firm footing. There's loads of evidence around self-efficacy and strengths. The idea that if you play to your strengths, you feel like you can have the knowledge and the skills and the capability to go forward and overcome some challenges. And at an individual level, that is
Oh, and I've lost your sound. Okay. Can you hear me? Sorry, you can tell that this is live because we've got a I've lost Ant's sound, so I'll I'll talk here and just hope that you haven't covered it. But it's it's a good point that you just made, because especially in kickoffs or start of the years when you're developing personal development plans, when you look at a strategy and you focus on your weaknesses or your development areas, having a look at a strategy and the areas that you need to self-develop and improve and understand the strategy and how you're going to deliver it could be quite daunting. It could be like daunting, and then it leads on to other negative emotions like fear and anger, and anxiety, even. So having a strengths-based approach is going to be beneficial to the individual, to the team, and definitely the organization. So if anyone's out there in LinkedIn land and thinking about a strengths-based approach, just do some reading around it. Loads of reading online. Gallup have done a lot of stuff to us, or talk to us, because we can share stories about our internal organization, but the clients that we work with as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely a new start. And now people are returning back to the office as well. Start thinking about how mindsets have shifted and how we can do things differently. I hope you just haven't said that, because I cannot hear you. So I don't know what's happened here. Yeah. I can't. I can't. You could tell that this is live. Yeah. We and can I just stop you? There's we can't hear you. So there's some. Can everyone hear me? We just got a message from Nausea. We can't hear you, so I don't know what's happened here, but I can only hear the gentleman with the glasses. So that's me. It's Ben. Yeah, sorry everyone. Yeah, so hopefully Anne hasn't covered this already, but we're today is all about how we motivate performance and not just manage it, and definitely with a strengths-based approach, slant on positive psychology as well, is what we do. And we were going to have a backwards and forwards conversation about our strategy last week, and and hopefully it will resonate with a lot of you who do have the year from April to April, about your strategy, and how are you motivating performance. I think that this is the most important factor now. People are, you got hybrid working forces, you got people going back to work. How do we motivate people? And I really encourage anyone out there, if you're not going with a strengths-based approach, or you haven't considered a strengths-based approach, then please think about it. I just heard some noise over there. Anne, are you
Ben,
back
am I
on?
back?
Yes, you're back on. Hey, I was sorry, everyone. I was just rambling on there, just trying to, but we now have
So, live example of a Monday morning
example.
going terribly wrong, and all you wonderful people pointing it out. Thank you for pointing it out, because I would have just kept on going.
That's all right. That's all right. That shows that we're human, and shows
Exactly
that we're
that, right?
human. But thank you for pointing that out on the messages as well. But yeah, you can't hide away from a live broadcast.
Love it. No, I guess we were actually talking about very similar things, right? So performance management, performance motivation, how we can move from just trying to extract the best from people and actually get to a place where they want to give their best. That's the point. Why don't we create the conditions? And it's a lot harder to do that, actually, but the reward is significant. If you can create the conditions in which people want to turn up and want to give their best, and their objectives definitely align to their, we hear a lot of this with our clients, and they go, well, we've matched everyone's personal objectives and we've matched them to the organization objectives. Yeah, but you haven't matched that necessarily to the team objectives. A few people have been talking about that, but actually, how is Ant's personal objectives linked to Ben's personal motivations and objectives? and thinking about both the home life, personal life, and the work life can be quite a powerful way to connect a team based on their unique strengths and skills and knowledge, because then it becomes about, okay, well, I've got my objectives, but also, Ben, you've got your objectives and your strengths. How can we communicate and collaborate together, assuming that our sound works, to make things happen, and to make cool things happen, and have fun along the way. I think that's important, what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and I think look, at the end of the day, if we're not enjoying what we're doing, it's going to become a real, difficult task. Okay, we can't always have fun. I know this. We've got work to do. We got things to do. But let's try and create as much enjoyment as we can. Yeah, and I think kind of PDPs that really speak to that individual, and allow other people the awareness of where that individual wants to get to, and how can we play to that? How can we, how can we make sure, especially in a team, that we're doing things together in the best way? We're going through it at the moment. I'm fairly new to Bailey and French. I've got a new team here, so it's understanding each other's strengths and motivations, how we play with them. What do they want to, if there's any skills and knowledge that they want to increase, hopefully some kind of strength will come off the back of that as well, that they didn't know they had. So it's a real life story that we're sharing. This is exactly what's been happening at the moment.
It is, and it's I don't think it's ever anything that people get 100% right. I don't think that's the point of it. I think that a lot, actually, just generally. I don't think the point is to complete it and that's it done. I think it's a continuous evolution of how you do these things. But certainly having kind of quick conversation guides. Okay, we're kicking off. Here's our objectives. Or actually, what do you think your objectives should be? How about setting things that way? You've seen our plan. What do you think? What do you want to contribute? What do you think your knowledge, skills, and strengths contribute to our plan? How about doing things that way around, so that people really go, well, hey, I've got great knowledge around this area or this industry. I've got skills around, connecting with clients and project management. And actually, I love collaborating with people. I think quite strategically, and I'm quite an enthusiastic person. So how about I get involved in this part of the project, and I can help us on priority 1 and priority 3.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Great.
Absolutely.
How can I help you to do that? You become immediately that kind of servant leader, that human leader that we're kind of always talking about on these lives, and helping people to achieve things their way.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the opportunity as well. And what a strengths-based approach does, it just allows an inclusive environment to have a conversation, and that's what you said. If it's one way, if it's talking about the strategy, if it's saying about different markets that we want to go in, or different clients, it becomes very, very one way. And again, it's talking about, we need to get here. You guys have to help us to get there, instead of flipping around that conversation and say, what do you want to do? What are the strengths that you have? What are your motivations? This here is the end goal, okay? But let's kind of talk about you. Let's have a conversation. Allow people to ask questions about it. Allow people to really get clear clarity, and that's definitely what we do here. And it's creating that kind of inclusive environment. Inclusive means everyone has a voice.
Well, and as we saw from McKinsey, we were talking about this morning, kind of, I think it's 50% more likely to stay, people who are saying that their organization is inclusive, but also 90% more likely to help a colleague, more likely to support them. And I don't know, because I haven't looked at the details of that study, but I can imagine that just means help them generally, not just specifically on a specific project, just support your colleagues and connect with them. There's something here, and I know we've talked about vulnerability, we've talked about all of those things previously, but is there something quite hard about sharing your personal motivations and your personal kind of development objectives. Hey, I'm really looking to achieve this and do this over this period of time, because it might not be 100% kind of connected to the organization's vision. I don't know. Have you ever experienced that? I'm just thinking off the cuff,
I
putting you
think
on the spot a bit.
it's difficult to do, because you even asked me last week, what are your top 5 strengths? And I thought, do you know what? I still don't know. I'm still not crystal. I have an idea, of course I do. But I am evolving. I'm also changing, and I've got kind of plans for myself in the future. So it's just, I'm going to give it some more thought. So we're running some internal kind of strengths discovery next week, which I'm running, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it as well. But yeah, I think there's still a hesitancy to say that, do I share all my strengths? Is it something that people are going to buy into? Is people going to think, oh, hold on, that's not where we want to get to? And it's but I think all strengths are important, right? All strengths are important. There's never going to be a strength that you can't use and you can't leverage within a team or a company as a whole. But it's an interesting question. It's an interesting question. But if people are not sharing, you've got to look if you've got the inclusive environment or the safe, the kind of safe environment that you're looking to create.
Well, and the reason I ask it is because exactly that. I think, yes, you need the safe environment, but is it realistic to get a safe organizational culture? Possibly. But the reality is it's much more likely to be a conversation between you and your manager that feels safe, or maybe you and a team. And the team may be of 4 or 5 people more than, say, a team of 13 people, just simply because of numbers. So the question then becomes, okay, well, if we're creating the space for people to be talking about their personal motivations and their personal strengths and intentions, I guess we can go forward and make a better decision on how we achieve those objectives as a team. So those objectives are laid on by the business, based on strategy, based on the thinking of the business, which hopefully I've had a chance to feed into. But how we get there as a team could be very, very different. And if I don't understand all of these different complexities about the person that I'm sat across the table from, or sat across a remote kind of version of a table, if I don't know these things about the people around me, I'm quite a risk to the business, I think, because if my personal motivation, for example, is to move to a different place in the UK, or move abroad in the next year, 2 years, or whatever, how am I sharing that with my colleagues who are going, right, we're on this 3-year plan, 5-year plan, etc.? That can be quite a tough, difficult conversation to maybe go and have, but an important one, because if we know it, we go, well, how do we support that? How can we bring that to life? Actually, is there a part of the strategy that we hadn't thought about? Maybe you can go and be part of that organization, or maybe we can start introducing you to that other team over there that's going to help and support. And you kind of have this opportunity to turn a leaver into someone who's going to be a lifelong advocate of what you've achieved and how you run your company, potentially.
I just think it allows a conversation. If you're talking about yourself, you're talking about your strengths, you're talking about stuff that people might find surprising, and people say, actually, I never thought that about you. It just allows everything that you're saying. If there was anything that you want to share that maybe in past times, or organizations who don't go with a strengths-based approach, it might be a little bit daunting to raise things like that. But I think what I've seen about companies who instill a strengths-based strategy is it just becomes more inclusive, becomes open, it becomes more supportive. It naturally happens because you're naturally having the conversation all the time. And because if you don't talk about your strengths, if you don't voice about your what stuff gives you joy, what stuff's motivating, strengths based is never going to work. So I just think it allows a more open dialogue and
Yeah.
open discussions with your teams.
Yeah.
And it allows you better, it allows you, strengths-based feedback is so easy to give, right? Because you're kind of talking about things that you're absolutely great at. Sometimes we can overplay them.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. We've kind of seen that at play, especially when in front of clients. But it's an easy correction to make, right? Instead
Yeah.
of giving someone feedbacks about kind of deficits or gaps
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
begin. So yeah, I think a long rambling answer to your question. I think it's it's easy to talk about positive stuff and motivational stuff.
Yeah.
And then that instills a greater open environment or open safe environment because people trust each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and for risk of, I guess, seeming quite so, everything that we do at Bailey and French is really important that we keep it really practical. So the first things that we go into organisations, we test out the culture and go, hey, what does it actually feel like right this second? I know where you want to go. You want this culture, psychological safety. You want, inclusivity. But where are we right now? And so I am conscious to keep this as practical as possible for people as well. But the conversation around strengths doesn't have to be an entire reformation of your performance management and
No,
appraisal
not at all.
process.
No,
It could just simply be helping your managers to even just have awareness of their own strengths,
yeah,
and by natural curiosity helping them to understand how to ask those questions within their team. So even if you've missed the boat on the PDP kind of objective setting and you're thinking, oh, we should have done this, we should have done the strength stuff, but it's too complicated, we're going to have to educate everyone. No, well, you don't have to wait till the end of the year. We can maybe just do some discovery, some awareness building, start that journey now,
mm-hmm.
so that next year, maybe, yes, you can do the way that you want to do moving forward. That's part of evolution. But
Yeah,
I think that's an important place to start, isn't it? Just the individual awareness, the team awareness
yeah.
of what really motivates and energizes you, and what your strengths are.
Yeah, and I think just that helping people self discover their strengths. In the meetings this week, both virtually and face to face, have a look at people when they get, when they if they're talking about something, they're talking a little bit faster, they're talking a bit with passion, enthusiastic. Maybe they're using their hands like this. Just help them identify and spot out to them, give them feedback. I noticed that you were very passionate when you're talking about that. That potentially could be a strength, and it's something that you can help people self identify as
Yeah.
well. And I think, yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. That is the first step, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And there's some really cool things. If you're watching this and you've gone, well, I do know my strengths, or our team can do that, but then what do we do after that? I think that's another question for another live, given that we've got 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people do struggle with that. What's next step? How do we bring it to life in our teams? How do we bring it to life in our objectives? We've touched on a little bit today, but there's so much more depth to it. A lot of people focus, as we said, on leadership, and actually this stuff probably starts at the team level and individual level. We will talk about it next week, I think, around the strengths-based leadership, because that's a whole other walk of life. But I think to start with the team, get your team this week talking about their strengths, noticing those strengths in those meetings and pointing them out, can be quite a powerful way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting some messages coming up here on the thing. Giving people a language for their strength is so important. Absolutely. Absolutely. Start talking about it in meetings. And remember, strengths are not stuff that, it's stuff that you get energy from. It's stuff that motivates. It's that word motivating. That's the biggest problem today with performance, right? So let's really start looking at motivated performance, and not just managing performance.
Yeah.
Traditional performance management systems just manage performance. They're very kind of backward looking focus. They're setting your objectives. You have to tick them off as the years progress, as the months progress. But yeah, start flipping it around. Start thinking about what motivates us on an individual level, and then that feeds into the team. And guess what? It feeds into the whole organization as well.
Yeah.
So in our 20 seconds left, give that a go. Start seeing where you become motivated this week, and spot it in other people as well.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much that we could talk about here. But that's why we do it every week, I suppose. And thank you for those that are sending the questions. And if we haven't answered all of them, apologies. Send us a note on LinkedIn as well. Well, it will be on LinkedIn, and we'll follow up with everyone who sent those messages. But yeah, if you've got anything that you want us to cover on next week, maybe building on this topic, maybe building on a slightly different topic, or one that you've heard of recently, lots of views are coming from afterwards on YouTube and all of the rest of it. So please just keep the questions coming through. It's great to have your input. And what do you want to hear? What do you want to find out? If you're owning a business or leading a department or leading the L&D, chief people function or part of it, you're wanting to create a better culture and we want to help. So let's have a conversation. Maybe you want to be part of the conversation. We have many guests. So please do get in touch. Thank you, Ben, for joining. Sorry for my sound midway through.
No, that's a problem. It just shows.
Microphone will go in the bin after this.
That's great. But have great weeks, everyone. And reach out if you've got any questions or you just fancy a chat.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Cheers, Ben.
Bye.